Hey guys, you get to see a great video here about a concrete sidewalk. Now I'm using this power buggy from lhdmachinery.com. They dropped it off to me and let me use it this summer. This is the second job I'm using it on. This is a 27 cubic foot power buggy, so it's a massive power buggy. I'm only filling it about half full. I'm still getting kind of used to it. You can see I dumped a little bit too much here in this one spot, but the boys will rake it back inside the forms. So not only am I using this really cool piece of machinery, this power buggy here, to do this walkway. You know, we couldn't really reach it from the truck, from the driveway. Didn't really want to get a pump truck to do this small walkway. So the power buggy was perfect for this job. And you know, you're going to get to see us do like a curved sidewalk here. We came up the day before and we formed this all up, partly using our curved forms, and then partly using some 2x4s, but tied a mat of steel in it using the fiberglass rebar. Now you're going to get to see how we pour this thing. So pouring a sidewalk that has all kinds of slopes to it is a little bit different than just pouring a regular concrete floor or a slab that's flat. A lot goes into it, and then it'll end up being finished with a broom finish. Now we're at a golf course here. We've done a lot of concrete at this golf course before, and we're connecting the building, which is up here in front where you can't see on the video, to a slab up back that we poured previously this year. And they have, like, the golf carts, when they're going around the golf course, they stop at this section up there where the slab is, and they'll put like a cookout grill up there. They'll cook burgers and hot dogs and stuff like that, so you can stop with the golf course, pick up some golf cart, pick up some food, and then, you know, just keep going if you want, I guess. But the concept was they wanted to be able to get from the building to that slab without having to walk through the grass, and be able to wheel their stuff onto the slab, you know, from the concrete. So that's why we're installing this walkway for them. There was no like set way we had to form it. It's just they wanted it about 5 feet wide. They dug it out for us. They did all the prep, and we just put in the forms based on kind of how they dug it out as far as the curves go. Set them to grade based on the slope of the lawn, so when they backfill up against it, everything kind of looks like it was made in place. So that's kind of what we're doing here. Now I only basically had one access for the power buggy. It was way over on the other side of the slab because there is some steep slopes over there. And I didn't want any concrete dripping out of the buggy as I was bringing it here. So, and I'm still kind of getting used to the controls a little bit on this thing. You know, for me, I've used a lot of power buggies in my day, 45 years, right? Used a lot of power buggies, but this one easily has the most power, and I'm getting used to the joystick with it. So it actually goes smoother, I thought, when it was full of concrete than when it's empty. Probably because of the weight, but I'm getting used to it. It's working pretty good. I like the tracks on it. The tracks on a power buggy are much better than wheels, in my opinion. You can go anywhere with tracks, right? You can go through soft stuff, wet stuff. You're not going to get stuck. With wheels, boy, you're really limited to the surface you can go over it with a power buggy, and you can't go over stuff that's soft, that's for sure. So Darren's kind of screeding the walkway. You know, we fanned it out up here a little bit, and then we're bringing it back down to about 5 feet. And it has quite a slope. Like, it has a lot more of a slope than what it looks like on the video from one side to the other. So he's trying to keep the concrete matched up to the top of the forms without it sagging as he's screeding the crete. Now for a finish, we also got a section to the right, kind of in the back. You can see there's 2 black buckets in back. There's another section of walkway we're doing over there that I guess the golf carts are going to drive up onto. Right now they're driving up on dirt onto that slab in there. If they have to stop, they end up spinning in the dirt. So we're going to give them a section of concrete over there where they can actually keep the golf carts on the concrete. And that's going to give them access up to top of that slab a little bit better. The tricky thing about the power buggy was, you know, this thing holds a lot of concrete, 27 cubic feet, which is a yard of concrete. I'm trying to only fill it about half full, so when I dump it, I don't dump it over the forms. And the boys are holding up that plastic so it doesn't splatter too bad all over them. Concrete always splatters coming out of a power buggy. I don't care what brand you have. it's going to splatter just because of the drop it has. And I mean, if you don't want to get covered with concrete, you got to try to cover up those splatters somehow. So I can get about half of a bucket full and drop it twice like that for the boys and give them, you know, a pretty good section to work with before I got to go and get some more. So Eric and Darren are now going to screed the concrete from the outside and try screeding it together just to help a little bit with the slope, because as you kick the concrete while you're screeding in the middle like Darren was, it tends to want to drop off that high side, sag a little bit off the form onto the lower side. So they're just trying to, there's quite a bit of pitch right there. They're just trying to keep it up even with the form, so when we go to finish the concrete, everything's all matched top of form. We're going to give this a broom finish. We'll float it out twice. We'll cut some grooves in it with a saw. Actually, I think we sawed everything else that we've done up here this year. So we may just end up sawing joints in this and not cutting them by hand. I think that's what we ended up doing. And that just obviously that makes the finishing process that much easier, that much faster. Both ways doing joints works good. You can see with using a power buggy versus a pump, like one of the main differences is, well, a couple actually, is a pump is faster, but with the pump, when you lay hose, you know, when you're done, you got to empty the hoses. So you got, each hose has concrete in it, plus the pump has concrete in it that you got to dump out somewhere and get rid of. So you got to deal with that a little bit. If we were line pumping this, we'd have to be dragging that line over, you know, whatever, over the forms, over the rebar, dragging it backwards, taking sections off, dumping them out as we're pouring. So there's always pros and cons to everything, right? So you got a little bit of extra concrete you got to deal with afterwards. You got to, you know, some hose you got to deal with as you're pouring. With a power buggy, it's a little bit slower, like going back and forth, loading it up, back and forth, but it gives guys time to work with the part that you dumped out. One good thing about it is you don't have to worry about any extra concrete afterwards. You don't have to order any extra concrete to fill up like you do with a pump. You got to order some extra to fill the pump up before it comes out the end of the hose. Power buggy is just, you know, whatever your piece of project figures, you just order that much concrete and no extra. Probably with a buggy, it does splatter a little more than it would with a pump because the hose is laying right on the ground. Now this power buggy, the bucket actually it'll turn 90 degrees right, 90 degrees left, so I don't have to just dump it straight on if I don't want to. I could drive right up next to the sidewalk here, turn the bucket 90 degrees and dump it over the edge 90 degrees if I wanted to. Just so happens I got quite a bit of room here to manipulate the power buggy. You can see I'm kind of going down a hill there. It's a little bit tipped and then back up to where the concrete truck is. A little bit of a challenge, but it's all working good. Now this is our summer crew here, right? 4-man crew plus me, so basically a 5-man crew. Eric, the guy on your right, screeding, he's a school teacher, so he works about 10 weeks in the summer. And then young Luke, the guy in the back with the light blue shirt on, he goes to college, so he's basically a summer worker, and go back the first week of September back to college. Then it's just back to me, Darren, and Luke again, which is our normal crew year-round. We'll pour concrete pretty much every day from the mid to end of April to the probably mid-November. So pretty much concrete every day, 8.5, 9 months out of the year. And then 3 months when it's really cold, December, January, and February, we don't do much at all. We don't want to do much when it's that cold. If it's something that's undercover, you know, we'll do it and it's heated, or something, you know, on a day where it's not too cold outside, we can do it. But then, you know, they got to keep the ground from freezing, you got to keep the concrete from freezing afterwards. So it's not too often we pour too much in the middle of the winter up here, which is kind of what we like. Now, if you want to learn how to do stuff like this, whether it's sidewalks, patios, pool decks, stamped concrete floors, power troweling, even epoxy coatings, you can join the Concrete Underground. That's my training area. It's a membership site. You can pay per month. You could pay one yearly fee. Or if you want lifetime access to that, only pay once, and then you have lifetime access to it and have the opportunity to come work with us on a job like this for a whole week. You can just join the lifetime access portion of that. And I got all kinds of training videos in there about how we do concrete pours similar to this, like on the job stuff. I break it down step by step, just what's going on in my mind, how I've done this for basically my whole life. I break all that stuff down into a training course, and there's multiple training courses in there about slabs and stamped concrete. Like I said, basically all the stuff that we do, all the videos you see us doing, I make training courses out of. So you can learn a lot. There I am kind of moving that buggy back and forth a little bit. You can see that section on the right a little bit better. That's pretty steep. We're going to be pouring that section. I didn't get it in this video, but we'll pour that about a 3 to 4 inch slump over there. Keep that from sagging at all. And this stuff we're pouring right now is probably about a 6. That's pretty normal for any of the stuff that we pour that's relatively flat or flat at all. Those forms that we use, in order to be able to curve them like that, they're flexible forms. So we get them from Poly Metaforms. They're a company out in Wisconsin. You could Google them, check them out. Those work really nice for doing curves. You can set up a curved walkway. This thing was about 50 feet long. Those things come in 12-foot sections. You could set up those curves on both sides in minutes like this, and then they have clamps that go in the forms that you put the pins through. So you can put those clamps anywhere, as close together or as far apart as you need, and then just we didn't drive them pins all the way down from the top of the forms because this stuff was really hard, these ground. And we knew that if we needed to move the pins in order to work around them, when the concrete starts setting up as far as finishing goes, we can just take them out as we go, as long as the concrete's set up enough. So that's not going to be an issue right there. Now we'll get to a point where we'll both float this too as well. Darren can pretty much mag most of it from the outside. And I think you'll see where up here towards the end, he's going to run that bow float over it. And what we like to do when we finish concrete is, the smoother the surface is after you get done pouring like this. That's why he's going back there and kind of being a little bit fussy about how the edges look and stuff. The smoother it is now, the easier it'll be to finish later. And you don't really know that unless you've done this for a while or you've worked for somebody that tells you that. But you want to, especially where we have another piece to pour, like if this stuff's setting up on us, we want to get it as smooth as we possibly can now, either with the bow float or by mag floating it. And then we know after we get done pouring that second section, if we have to jump back on this and it's setting up pretty good on us, well, the surface is going to be in pretty good condition. It's going to be pretty smooth. It's going to make it a lot easier to float out, whether we're using a funny float or, by hand using a mag float. Some of you guys use a Fresno, I know. See how Darren's coming down that now. So he's going to smooth that out and make it look really nice. And then he knows. Darren's finished a lot of concrete. He's been with me over 30 years. See the difference there between just mag floating it and bow floating it? So that could be the difference between, losing something because it's set up too much on you and it's too rough to get it smooth. So it could be the difference between losing something and making something look really good. So he may even go back after he's done bow floating and just float out some of these bow float lines he's leaving. He may or may not. It all depends where we are on the pour, if he's got time to go back and do that or not. So it's kind of a feel thing, like where are we at with this pour? Can we make this happen or not? Now what I found, running this power buggy for the second time, again, lhdmachinery.com if you want to check that out. Tony Abrams, you can find him on LinkedIn too. especially if you're in the market for a power buggy, I would definitely recommend this one. This thing's a beast. It's going to last you forever. You're going to have this thing for a long, long time. But anyway, what I found was, using the power buggy, it did make relatively quick work of this, even though the ground was very uneven. And the more I ran it, the better I got at using that joystick. Like it's joystick control, right? Backward, forward, sideways, and then there's a separate joystick for dumping the buggy, turning that and dumping that. So it's kind of I was kind of learning on the job kind of thing with this thing. I didn't really practice with it at all. But so that finishes up the walkway, guys. Now I'm gonna have a couple other videos pop up here. Make sure you check them out. If you got any questions, leave them down in the comments. I'll try to answer them down there. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next one.